You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Truly, I'm excited to be here with you today because has anybody ever felt just overly committed, stretched out, like we're trying to do too many things in one day? I know that's a daily life for me, it feels like. But if we want to personally develop ourselves, whether that be hobbies that we've put off for a long time that we want to try doing or redo again, or whether it be renewing relationships that we've lost touch with, or even stretching ourselves to make a career transition, personal development is crucial in our ability to evolve. And sometimes we get so overcommitted that we don't have that space to think, to just be with ourselves. So we want to take today to get motivated, to create that space. If you have questions, we're taking your calls live. The number is 800-333-0001. Again, 800-333-0001. In fact, we're going to go to the lines now. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Welcome to the show. Hi.
Thank you. My name is Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
And, hi. My question has to do with my mom, who she's 90. She is in an assisted living place, and we're thinking that she's getting towards the end of her life. She's having some serious problems. I've been very close with my mom all of my life. She's pretty much been my best friend, and I can tell her anything. In the last few years, she's developed dementia, and I feel like she's not really there anymore. I feel like she's a completely different person, and I really struggle with that, and I feel like I go to visitors often as I can, at least once or twice a week, but I feel like it's not enough, and I'm feeling incredibly guilty because I have such a hard time being with her anymore. And I just wondered if you had any advice for that or any thoughts.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that you're going through this time with your mom. It's never easy as our parents get older. They're all going to have some challenges. It might be a health challenge. It might be a disability. It might be, you name it. But first of all, I want to kind of separate my thoughts. In regards to you and how you're handling this, when you're with your mom, and you said she acts differently than she has, is she aggressive? Does she just not know who you are and really doesn't know why you're there? What is her attitude towards you?
No, she's not aggressive at all. She's very, she kind of laughs at everything, and she seems happy all the time, and yet there aren't any emotions. Like I could tell her something that's happened in my life that's kind of sad, and she'll just laugh at it. It's like nothing goes very deep with her, and she doesn't understand a lot, but she does recognize me. So yeah, it's just that level of intimacy has changed.
And that could change anyway in life, if we take this relationship of being your mom and you, if friends move away or relatives move away, a relationship can change. If, let's say it's a husband and wife situation and one's working long hours and they never see each other, a relationship can change. So I would absolutely still love your mom, still come to her with your challenges that you're having, but you now know that she's in this kind of light, happy state, I would actually say that's a good thing. I mean, obviously, it's
Yeah.
hard when you come to her with a sensitive moment and she's laughing,
Mhm.
but my mom is my best
Right.
friend too, and I would
Uh-huh.
much rather have your mom laughing, happy, than
Yeah.
aggressive, withdrawn, sad.
Right.
The
That's a good point.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because she is
Yeah.
90 and we'd love for her to go on for years, but the reality is we don't all live ongoingly, you know.
Right.
I
Right.
and like you, I'm sure we've thought several times, gosh, the day I don't have my mom, ugh, I don't even think of that
Mhm.
day. So just
Right.
enjoy the
Right.
time you have with her. Is that something you can
Okay.
do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can still take her on drives and push her through the mall and do things like that. So yeah, I definitely will.
And there's kind of an
Um,
opportunity here. Meaning, if she is in this light, happy state, she's just a new version of your mom. She's still there. She still
yeah.
recognizes
Right.
you. So just try
Uh-huh.
to have fun with her, as much fun as you can. Find out what
Yeah.
makes her laugh. Mom, why are you laughing? And laugh with
Mhm.
her and start to create
Okay.
those new memories. Um,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that's very precious time all on its own. And then the memories
Right.
of your mom prior to now, well, those aren't going to go anywhere. You and her
Right.
have a very
Mhm.
special relationship, and you
Mhm.
have a lot of memories to turn to that will put a smile on your face, only ones that you and her had together.
Mhm. Right. Right. Oh, well that helps a lot. Yeah.
Well, and just
Um,
love her. Just love her as much as you
mhm.
can until
Yeah.
that day that comes. But trust me, my dad
Right.
died about 3 years ago. And I
Uh-huh.
remember when he was in his hospital bed, I curled up next to him. I rubbed his bald head because he had lost all his hair due to his cancer. And
Oh.
I told him I was so sorry that I couldn't save him. I couldn't protect him from the
Mm.
cancer. But gosh, I
Yeah.
just remember singing Have I Told You Lately That I Love You by Rod Stewart over and over to get him. And we just created new memories as I said goodbye to my dad.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's really neat.
Yeah. So
Okay. Well,
have
that
fun
helps a
with your
lot.
mom. She sounds like she's
Okay.
in a really good, happy place. I would enjoy that time with
Yeah.
her. And
Yeah.
when you're having
Okay.
a hard day, turn to
Mhm.
the other people in your life. Hopefully, you have siblings or other relatives that are experiencing the same sensitive moments and withdrawal of her,
Yeah.
and just
Right.
let that group support come together.
Okay. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
I will
But
definitely
we're
do that. I do
thinking
have
of you. We
siblings.
love you here, and
Okay.
thank you
Thank
for calling
you.
in.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. There's never an easy way to handle when a loved one is sick. It's just one of the toughest challenges that we're all going to face if we're not facing it now. But truly, to live in the moment, to meet that person where they are, and to really look at them and think, what do they need most from me at this time? Do they need me to be their health advocate and really go to bat for them? Do they need me just to laugh with them? Do they need me to sing to them songs that they might remember? Think about, again, the people in your life that you can really make that positive impact with. Our last caller, it was her mom, but we all know somebody that's within a place of struggle, a health struggle, financial struggle, relationship struggle. I want everybody to think of someone in their life that they can reach out to today, that they can make a positive impact in that person's life. Sometimes it's just calling them up and saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Is there anything I can do for you?" Even if they say, "No, no, I'm good. There's nothing you can do." Just to have offered and actually express that you care, maybe trying to take their mind out of where they are, that negative place, and cheer them up, talk about something happy. Again, we're talking about personal development today. So when we're working on our own personal development, we don't just want to leave our friends and family aside. We want to become more aware of how we can make a positive impact in the lives of others, and more aware of what we need for our own selves, our own bodies. Our last caller, she's clearly going to give a lot to her mom, be happy, laugh with her, and that's a new phase that she's going into. But she still will need her own self-care. You know, how do you personally evolve when you have these tensions in your body? I know for me, whenever I've been in a stressful place in my life, I've always felt kind of like a soda can all shook up. And when you shake that can and you pop that top, you know it's going to explode. So try to find some way to limit that explosion. You know, maybe not open that can if it's not the right time. Part of developing, part of evolving is timing. Paying attention to organically the way things are moving in your life. Sometimes we want to force things to happen. We live in somewhat of an instant gratification lifestyle. We all want it now. And what I've learned in life is that patience is a very important quality. So like our last caller, she wants to be patient with her mom and just love her. You know, like anything that we're trying to do, a new hobby, reaching out to someone in our lives, or getting back on that workout that we've been putting off, patience is key. So we're going to be coming right back after this next break to our very special guest, Elizabeth Scott, and her story is not only inspiring, but educational. We'll be right back after these messages.
Isn't this dinner party wonderful? Jeanette and Bill did so much planning, and the house looks great.
Well, you know, it was almost canceled. Did you hear that Bill was really sick with the flu 2 weeks ago?
No, I had no idea. I've been so busy at work. But my coworker's toddler was in the hospital with flu, too. Is Bill okay?
It was pretty serious and aggravated his asthma. Bill got sick quickly with a high fever. Fortunately, Jeanette got him to the doctor right away. The doctor said it was flu and prescribed a medication that helped him get back on his feet.
I didn't know flu was so serious until I heard Bill say he felt like he'd been hit by a truck. He missed a big meeting at work.
Well, thank goodness Jeanette had gotten her flu shot. Because, you know, she's expecting.
What? Oh, man.
I guess that was another thing you guys didn't know either.
A message from the Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi. I can't come to the phone right now because I'm abusing my children. Not just verbally, but physically. I'll get back to you.
If only child abuse was this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call Child Help at 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. We've helped millions of people help millions of children. All calls are anonymous and confidential, so call 1-800-4A-CHILD or visit childhelp.org. Child Help. Trust your instincts. Brought to you by Child Help and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Today, you hit the snooze bar. You checked your email. You checked your fantasy football team. You rejected an insulting trade offer. You ate your lunch. You did all the things that one normally does the day before a 175-mile-per-hour hurricane blows through your city, leaving it in a state of ruin. You never know when the day before is the day before. Prepare for tomorrow at ready.gov/today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about how we can personally push ourselves out there to develop in the way that we want. That's a big statement, because sometimes trying to figure out what do we want, right? Well, hopefully over the course of this show, you'll get some ideas, ways in which you can positively get your life going in a direction that makes your heart sing, that makes you feel as though you are living a life of purpose. And in fact, talking about a life of purpose, our next guest, Elizabeth Scott, I mean, her story is not only inspiring, but really had me even step back and go, wow, I know I make an impact in people's lives, but I want to do it like Elizabeth, because she is just that amazing. Welcome, Elizabeth Stott.
Hi, nice to be here. Nice talking to you.
Well, Elizabeth, you are a dynamo all on your own, but I know part of your personal development, of your lifestyle, your career path now, all came with your son when he was born. Can you share with us about when your son was born and what you found out about his health?
Sure. Well, when he was born, he seemed like a perfectly healthy baby and progressed very well. But around 16 or 17 months, his behavior began to drastically change for the worse. He constantly choked on food, fixated on ceiling fans, flags and lights, lined up objects, and things like that. And he was afraid to touch innocuous objects such as finger paint, Play-Doh, bubbles, and rain. So, we had to take him to the hospital because of the choking, and they told us to call early childhood intervention, and upon which, when they came to our home when he was 18 months, he was diagnosed with pervasive developmental delay, and that is autism.
Mm. Being told that news and hearing the word autism, because it's really quite a scary word for so many parents, what did you do? What did you think? What was that moment like?
It's a scary word for every parent, and I was absolutely devastated. I knew what autism was, but I wasn't sure what the symptoms were, and it was so unexpected to me, and I just couldn't believe it was happening. But I was very afraid, and I was very, very hurt, and I knew my life was about to change drastically.
And tell me about that hurt. Where did the hurt come from? Was it disappointment in yourself? Could I have done or should have done anything differently, or more fear about your son and his future? Tell me more about that hurt.
Yes, I wasn't disappointed in myself because I knew I lived a very healthy life, but I was so afraid for my son, and all the dreams and hopes that I had for him, I thought, oh my goodness, now they're not going to happen. And I was afraid of the unknown. I did not know what to do or how I was going to be able to help him, or, I didn't know what the journey was going to be, but I knew it was going to be a tough one. And I cried a lot. And I was just very frightened.
So where do you begin when you're given that news? Where did you start?
Well, basically I started with my faith. I prayed a lot and I asked God for a healing, but I also, when early childhood intervention came to my home, I was fortunate enough that I was told that he would receive speech therapy and occupational therapy 3 days a week for an hour. But I had a therapist that told me, that actually gave me some powerful advice, and she said, everything that he's afraid to do and cannot do, you need to teach him how to do. And this advice translated into words of hope for me, that maybe there's some hope that he'll get better, but I wasn't sure. But I knew at that point I was going to have to fight for him and learn what I needed to do to try to help him improve, but I didn't know what was going to happen.
And truly, you took those words and they just vibrated through your body, and you you came up with a plan that today, obviously, your son is not autistic any longer, but what did you do? What plan did you put together?
Well, basically, by 18 months, after that month, the symptoms come very fast. At least they did in his case. And by the time he was 18 months, I could no longer wash his hair or brush his teeth or take his picture without him screaming. So I knew, in a way, it was a blessing that it came fast and that there were so many of them, because then I knew I had to go to work and really start fighting for him. So I had to have a complete change in my lifestyle, beginning with, all right, I'm not going to be able to go back to work, because I was a former teacher, and I had every intention of going back to work when he was about 2 or about 20 months or so. So I knew then that I was going to have to change, basically stay home and try to help him. So he received the therapies 3 days a week for an hour, but that was not near enough therapy time. So I applied the skills and drills or the activities that they were doing with him, and then came up with my own plan of working with him all day throughout the day. And
here you are putting together these drills and this plan and just hoping that it's going to work. What were those days like? Was he taking to? Was he following the directions? I mean, here he is 18 months, right? I mean, what was that like from 18 months to 4? Because that's really over the time that you were doing these drills.
Yes. Basically, from 18 months until 4, or every day from 7 o'clock in the morning, pretty much when he woke up, until about 7 o'clock at night, I incorporated different activities of things that he could not do and was afraid to do that were age-appropriate into our daily life activities. So I call it skills and drills because every specific activity was designed to help him overcome each of his fears and challenges. So it was an intensive intervention program that involves working with your child every day, several hours a day on a daily basis. And mine was about 10 hours a day because I was at home and because he was so bad off that I was almost forced to keep him engaged. And so I didn't have an organized program to follow, so I thought of different activities to work on that targeted every area and each of his symptoms. And I compiled a list of 78 skills and drills because I had to write down. First, I wrote down all the things that were wrong with him, and then we came up with an activity to target that area. So whether it was fine motor, gross motor, sensory motor, cognitive abilities, we worked on. And I literally, as we targeted those areas, I could see some of the symptoms going away after 6 and 7 months.
Can you give us an example?
After 4.
Can you give us an example, Elizabeth?
Oh, yes. For example, he didn't like to be touched by other people, and he started lashing out if you touched him. So we had to do a lot of massage therapy, and I did some brushing and some, it's called deep joint pressure massages that I did with him. And then after about 7 months of that, twice a day, he didn't have any more touch issues. We also did a lot of language drills because he could not talk. At 18 months, he couldn't say, actually, he couldn't say a word till he was 2 years and 3 months. And that was about 7 months of intensive speech therapy, in which I created a lot of the drills myself, using picture cards and puzzles and board books and things like that. And finally, he was starting to say just a couple words, and we just would build upon everything. So, and I did this, I call the CRS plan with consistency, repetition, and structure. So in a structured setting, we repeated the skills every day until he mastered them, and we literally retrained his brain.
Wow.
And as a result, all the stimming and hyperactivity and the sensory problems and gross and fine motor problems were literally going away. And then some more would come, so we would make up drills or activities for that specific skill, for that specific problem. And over time, some things took 2 years to go away, but other things took 3 and 4 months.
Wow.
And you just didn't know.
I'm just curious, though, over this span of time, what I hear so much from families that do have a child with autism is just the stress that it does put on the family. How did you and your husband handle this time?
Well, that's a very good question because it was pretty much a lifestyle change. And my husband and I agreed to work together as a team, and he told me to do whatever it took to help him, and that he would listen because he did not know what to do or how to do the therapies. But when he wasn't working, he would give me a break for about an hour or two and take him to the park or take him for a walk and things like that so I could take a break. But he pretty much, we just agreed that we just had to work together and try to fight for him because there's a small window of time between, it's really important that you start early. And as soon as you see developmental delays, you don't even have to have a diagnosis. But if you start seeing delays in a baby or a toddler, seek help, through early intervention, because you can start working on whatever the delay is, and start trying to get them over it. Mm-hmm. And it really, like I said, I made a list, and he had a total of 45 symptoms, and every symptom went away in 3 years. And that was 10 hours a day, though.
Well, I'm just curious.
What we did, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't as stressful if I had him organized, I had him engaged. It was more stressful to let him just sit there or tantrum or just, be frustrated. So I set up my home with just different stations of things to do things with him, and it was actually easier having him engaged.
Right. How did you just not go into a tantrum mode yourself with all that stress?
Oh, I did.
Okay.
Many times.
Okay.
There were times that, I would give him to my son, my husband, and I would go cry, and I would be frustrated, but I would put him in timeout, and I would stand over him, and he would tantrum, and I was like, everything that you don't want to do, you're going to have to do. And then I would direct him back to that activity and make him do it. But it was very frustrating for me because he fought me on everything.
Sure.
But
hey, Elizabeth,
over
we're going to
time,
be going to a commercial break here. And I know we have a lot more to share with our listeners about the progress with your son and where you are today. So we'll be right back at this break with Elizabeth Scott.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I want to change some things. I want the moms where I live to have childcare they can trust.
I want to make sure my little brother and his friends have a safe place to play.
I want to help more kids graduate from high school.
Help more hardworking families learn how to budget and save.
I want more of my neighbors to have access to health care.
Want to make a difference? There are so many ways you can. Help create opportunities for everyone in your community.
I want to change what I see around here.
United Way is creating real, lasting change where you live by focusing on the building blocks of a better life: education, income, and health.
I just want to see more smiles on my sidewalks.
Reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. For more, visit United Way at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, this is Nancy Solari. Thank you for joining our show today. This is the Living Full Out show. And right now we're speaking with Elizabeth Scott, who has a son, well, now who does not have autism, but at 18 months was diagnosed with autism. And by a lot of love, doing her skills and drills, she was able to get her son Roman off the autism spectrum by age 4. So welcome back, Elizabeth Scott.
Thank you.
Hi. So, hearing the word autism, I think I just heard the other day it was like 1 in 90 children. Now it's 1 in 45. And it's obviously a word that is a little scary for a lot of parents. When given this news, and you're working with a lot of different parents now with their own children, how does one digest those words? I mean, you went right into skills and drills mode, and perhaps your teaching background helped give you that direction. But what motivational advice do you have for parents who it's just not working? Their son or daughter is going to therapy, and they're still not seeing them develop.
Well, I always tell parents that a child with autism needs one-to-one therapy, and there are so many things parents can do that are so critical to their child's progress, and they need to collaborate with the professionals and incorporate their methods to create an in-home program with them, but it needs to be done, with consistency, and, don't give up and don't despair, because it's so easy to get paralyzed and just think that it's just not going to work. And a lot of times I thought that, but I knew I only had one direction to go and I couldn't go back. So you just fight for many, many years. I didn't know how long it was going to take, and I didn't know if he'd ever recover. I honestly just was praying that he would get better, but I literally saw the symptoms go away, and that gave me some hope, because several symptoms would go away, and then more would come, and then they would go away. So I just kept, there was some hope there, and I just kept going with it. And I think sometimes people may, and I don't know, but sometimes people just give up, or sometimes for some kids, the children I've worked with, I've seen them all get better. Some of the I've worked with 3 kids for the last 4 years, and they've all improved about 70%. And those were with working moms, full-time working moms.
Well, and you were just saying that you want to catch it early. You caught it at 18 months,
yes.
And Roman was off the spectrum at 4. But is it too late for older children?
Well, I don't know about full recovery for older children. I know kids have recovered up to age 14, but that's because they had therapy before age 3, 2 and 3, and it was intensive therapy all day. And that's the difference, too. Had I been working, definitely Roman would not have recovered. I do know that, because my son had a pretty severe case, and it took that much time. But the good news about working with him is I could see some of the results, and it was better to be working with him to get him to improve than to live with this complete frustration every day. So
well,
even
I don't
though
hear of a lot of cases where kids are on the spectrum and then they're off of it. They're like, they have no symptoms. No. I mean, that's so rare for your son.
It's so rare. It's 10%. 10% of children have recovered, and I did not know that. I was hoping. I was just, like I said, I was fortunate to have a therapist say, you fight for him, because you never know. I'm like, really? Do you think he can beat this? And she's like, I don't know, but let's fight, because I see him getting so much better. So and then they're like, what are you doing? I just kept him on a program all day, every day. And then on his 4th birthday, when we went back to his school for special education, they're like, he's done. He's dismissed. He no longer is on the spectrum. Everything's gone. But I saw that everything was gone. But I had to have that confirmation. They're like, I don't know what you did. It was a combination, to me, of prayer, therapies, and the intensive intervention. But they said he no longer has the diagnosis of autism. And I couldn't, I couldn't believe it, because I could see it.
We're obviously really grateful and glad that Roman was in that 10%, and hopefully that 10% number will go up here in time.
I know.
I guess for our listeners that are listening today, again, they may have a child that just got diagnosed, or maybe they're doing their own skills and drills and working with therapists. How do you stay motivated, though? I mean, and I hear of a lot of marriages that fall apart kind of because of this time, families that are balancing multiple siblings where one might be autistic and others are not. And you've worked with many different families with various dynamics. How does one stay motivated?
Well, my motivation was, this is my one shot. I have several years to do this. I'm going to give it my all. But at least I know if it doesn't work, I did everything I could. So I knew that that I only had one way, because the other way, I knew I just had to try and fight, because if I didn't, he was so bad off that it was more frustrating not to do it than to do it. And so that's what motivated me, because he was such a basket case. He cried a lot and tantrumed a lot, that when I had him engaged in activities, and it would stimulate his brain. And I was teaching him. I always taught him. I taught him his colors, his numbers, and shapes at 18 to 24 months, his alphabet. And so even though he was still had autism at 2 and 2.5, he was getting smarter. I could see it. And it was that teaching and all the different activities that we incorporated, it just, I don't know if it just triggered his brain, made the synapses come together. I don't know, but I could see him change for the better.
Well, and I'm just curious. I'm just curious, as a mother, as a woman, how did this experience with Roman personally change you?
Oh, it totally changed me, because I saw what kids, as young babies and infants and toddlers, what they really could be capable of. There's so much between birth and 5 years old you can do to not only increase their IQ, but their developmental stages. And it made me so grateful. I learned so much through this, because even though I was a teacher I taught second and third grade, I knew nothing about infants and toddlers, and so it just taught me a lot of, wow, there's so much you can do for all kids, whether it's hyperactivity or children with any kind of sensory issues, or whether it's autism or any kind of disability, or just typical children. There's so much you can do to help your child improve.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry Roman couldn't be with us today. I know he's got piano lessons or something, but
he plays the piano now. He's doing great.
But I'm just curious, what memories does he have of that time in his life? I mean, obviously he was off the spectrum by 4, but do you ever discuss that with him? Does he remember the skills and drills? Does he know that he was on the autism spectrum? What does he know about that time?
He knows his whole story, and he sees me working with children now, and he's like, did I go, and he says, was I like that, Mom? I go, you were worse than that. So he doesn't have any recollection at all of it. He remembers things, different toys that he played with, but he has no recall of it whatsoever. But he appreciates where he came from. He's like, thank you for helping me. But he doesn't understand it at all, as far as he doesn't remember it at all. Because when he went to kindergarten, he was fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Roman sounds like a great kid, great adult. I mean, he's really thriving today. But, if you could go back in time and not have him ever be on the spectrum, not have to go through all 4 years of that intense skills and drills. We can never go back, but I'm just curious, would you do things differently if you could?
No. If I could go back, no, I think I did it the right way. I probably would have started earlier had I known what I know now. I probably would have started at 9 and 10 months, because to me, he was a little bit, he didn't like other people touching him and stuff like that. So there were little things that I just didn't know. But I think I did everything I could. And so I don't think I would do it differently. Maybe, and I was pretty intense when I did it. So I think it worked to our advantage. And I'm glad, and now that I look back, I'm glad I went through it, because now I can help others. Because I just can't believe what we went through. And because of everything that we did, he's so much better off now. I mean, He's a straight A student. He's in the gifted and talented. He loves school, and it's been easy for him since he's started school in kindergarten.
Right. Now let's talk
He's in
about
eighth grade
your
now.
training that you do today with these other children. I mean, you basically had all this intense training with Roman. You had a teaching degree and experience before, but this really surged you into a place of personal development that you were not expecting.
Oh, yes. And now I just take the same techniques and activities I did with him and help other parents and work with other children, and I see them getting better. I mean, it does work in many, many cases. It's worked in all of my cases. So it's been very beneficial.
What's one thing that a parent with a child with autism should always keep in mind?
Just to always appreciate the child for where they're at. Whether they get better or not, love that child, but try to work with them early on. And try to work with them. Even when they're older, there's a lot you can do. Maybe they won't recover, but they can go from having maybe 8 symptoms to 4 symptoms, or you can get them to read or write. Because I'm working with a 15-year-old that couldn't read when I first got him, and now he's reading at a second grade level. And I just got him a year and a half ago. So there are things you can get them to improve upon, even as teenagers.
Wow, that's so amazing, and such hope to know that that's possible. And, thank you, Elizabeth, for being that source of strength for other parents. And I know you recently wrote a book. What was the title of your book?
Raindrops on Roman, Overcoming Autism, A Message of Hope. And I also have an autism recovery manual of skills and drills, too, of showing everything we did to help him recover.
Well, and I wanted to make sure that we got that in, because truly this is just a time for a lot of parents where they don't know which way to go. So thank you for being a source of strength for us today and being a part of our show, and have a wonderful day. Thank you again,
very
Elizabeth.
much.
For everybody
Thank
else,
you very
we'll be
much.
coming right back after these messages.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
You remember that board game we went to a couple years ago?
Sure.
And how you didn't have enough cash for 2 hot dogs, so you walked with me on your shoulders until we found an ATM? And then when we got back to our seats, we never saw the hot dog guy again.
Well, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
You never know which moments will be the ones they'll remember forever, so take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Medical mistakes claim tens of thousands of lives every year. The healthcare community is working on it, but you can help. When you communicate with your doctor, when you ask more questions, you reduce your risk of suffering a medical mistake. Doctors can't answer if you don't ask. Help reduce your risk. Questions are the answer. Learn the 10 questions you must ask. Visit www.ahrq.gov. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, and the Ad Council.
I'm getting a catcher's mitt.
I'm getting ice skates. I'm getting a devastating flood.
Adults are generous. We're even giving kids global warming, but we can still reduce greenhouse gas pollution. Go to fightglobalwarming.com. Brought to you by Environmental Defense, the Robertson Foundation, and the Ad Council.
There are many sounds in your daily life. Ones that make you smile. Ones that help you relax. And there are some sounds that can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you critical information about emergencies in your area. With updates from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know wherever you are. Learn more at ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is President Barack Obama. In the story of America, the greatest chapters are moments of challenge, when we see people serving their country and one another. Volunteers who step forward into hospital corridors and church basements, along levees and fire lines. And the next chapter is yours to help write. Sign up to volunteer at usaservice.org. That's usaservice.org. Let's renew America together.
A message from Renew America Together, brought to you by the Ad Council.
One of the largest aspects of living full out is knowing that your life is worth it, that you have the ability and the capability to explore and become truly who you want to be, looking in the mirror, feeling proud of yourself, doing things to challenge yourself, and accomplishments that you can be proud of. That is all part of personally developing into who we want to be in our lives. Living full out is about having patience. It's about taking time to evolve, not pressuring yourself to instantly.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Wow, we are in our last segment here, and we're going to be taking your calls. Again, developing as a person. That's a really big idea, right? It's just, what do you want? What do you need in your life? What would bring a smile to your face? What would warm your heart? What do you feel like you are most meant to do in the core of your body? That's what the quest of life is. That's what living a purposeful life is. But we have our entire life to explore that journey. So wherever you are today, if you feel like you have a super long to-do list that you haven't quite got to, if you feel competitive with others in your life and you're not quite where you wish you were, that's okay. The great thing about every day is that it's a new day. That simple. So think about today, with the remainder of time we have, what can you do today to better yourself, to strengthen your mindset, to allow yourself to step one little step closer to that goal? Anything is possible. It's just taking action in your life. Again, we're taking your calls. The number to call in is 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. Elizabeth Scott's interview in the last two segments gave me so much to think about, and I'm sure everyone here today as well. Again, we're going back to the lines. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hello, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello. My name's Kendrick.
Hi, welcome. So share with us, what's going on today?
Well, basically, I guess, I feel like I have to have pressure from my parents to, graduate college sooner.
So tell me more about that.
Well, so, basically, I've been going to school for maybe about, 6 years, and I feel like, they just have that mentality in which, you should be already graduated within 4 and a half years. So they just been asking me every single day or every time I go home. So they ask me when are you graduating, and I don't know how to tell them, I would say.
Well, do you have a educational plan, or did you just recently switch majors and that's why your timing's a bit off?
Yeah, in a way, I just got back into school because I took a little time off, which I didn't tell them. I think that's the reason why maybe it made them think that why you're taking so long.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. You took time off. You made that decision. Any decision that we make in our life, we have to take the responsibility for that decision. And This is your life, so you get to make the calls. However, are your parents paying for school or are you paying for school?
Well, basically, it's just financial aid, so we wouldn't really consider them paying in a way.
Okay. And the reason why I ask that question is a lot of times parents are really invested in how quickly a student can get through school and classes if they're paying for it. If you're paying for it, then, you should be able to dictate the pace at which you go, I would just kind of have a little bit more faith in them, bring them more into your life. I think sometimes when parents are curious or they don't know where their child's at, are they happy? Are they struggling? Do they need us? Parents will love you unconditionally forever. They just want to know that you're okay. And if they find out that they thought you were on a certain plan and then really you were doing something not what they thought you were, that kind of builds some inconsistency, and they just want to be invited in your journey. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically, I should just be more open to them about what I do and everything.
Absolutely. Take that risk, because the thing is, you might fear, oh God, not another lecture, or they're going to be disappointed, or you might have a lot of limiting beliefs around what they're going to say to you or how they're going to feel. But take that risk. Explain to them why you took time off. Explain to them that, I'm just trying to feel out or understand who I want to be and what I want to do. Because your parents were you once. We've all been there. We've all been in a place of indecision. Is that something you can do?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, and here's what I know. If you just invite them in a little bit more, I promise you they'll be more understanding. They still might challenge you, but it will strengthen the bond that you do have with your parents. And you don't want to lose that bond. You don't want to lose their faith in you.
All right, cool. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. So really great questions. We're going to go back to the phone lines. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hello,
Hi.
Welcome to the show. Hi. So what's going on in your life today?
I'm in law school right now, and exams are approaching, and things are starting to get a lot busier and more hectic. And I was wondering if you had any advice for how to stay relaxed and how to block out other stressed out classmates.
So is the biggest stress in your life your classmates?
It kind of feels that way in law school, where everyone's kind of competing on a curve.
Mm-hmm. Well, on that curve, how are you doing?
I think I'm doing well. I think I'm keeping up, but we really don't have any way to go until exams roll around, since our grades are just determined on that one exam.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I asked that question is there really may not be an answer, because you can't see that yet. But when you're stressed out, the best way to handle stress is to start with yourself. When you're confident, like when you're studying for your classes and you're truly doing the best you can, and you know that when you sit down to your exam, you just did the best you could, you won't be as stressed than if you're unconfidently going into a situation. Making sure that you're doing self-care, that you're getting enough sleep, that you're eating the right things to, keep your mind healthy and being able to take on the long hours. Are you doing those things for yourself?
I'm trying to shift my diet now, cut out, alcohol for the most part, and trying to eat a little bit more healthy.
Mm-hmm. And the competition you feel with your classmates, competition is not bad. Sometimes you can have healthy competition. You want that to fire your belly and what make you want to do as good as you can. It's just putting that in kind of a healthy environment. If you find that being with your classmates is not supporting your ability to study and prepare for those exams, then you might need to unplug a bit and just study on your own. I mean, it sounds a little antisocial a little bit, but sometimes we love to be by ourselves. We love that alone time. Sometimes our body and our mind craves it. Are you somebody that tends to study with your friends or on your own?
I tend to study on my own for the most part.
Okay. And most of all, always have a vision for your life. Meaning you want to visualize yourself doing really good on these exams. You want to visualize yourself post-graduation doing law in whatever form you desire. Because when you hold that vision near and dear to your heart, then all the stresses are more worth it. Like you can stomach it, you can get through it if your vision for who you want to be is strong. Do you have that vision?
I do, yeah, I think so.
So one day when I need legal support, who are you going to be?
I'll be there for you. I hope to be a strong and good advocate.
Right? And to be a strong and good advocate takes confidence, right?
Correct.
Okay. It means that when your clients are stressed out, they're going to look to you to say, de-stress me, right?
Right.
Right? So going through this time in your life, experiencing stress, experiencing competition, that's all just building you up to be the great attorney that you will be.
Okay.
It's life's funny way of preparing you. Sad but true.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you're laughing. I want you to keep laughing, keep smiling, because at the end of the day, that vision is not a fantasy. It's reality that will be here soon. You just got to get through these times.
True. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Okay. So thank you to everybody who called into the show today. I don't want to say courageously, because we hope that this is a healthy, supportive, safe environment. And each week we're here for you to call in. Again, the number's 800-333-0001. However, a lot of these topics, whether it be our first caller who's dealing with her mom going through dementia, or whether it's feeling stressed out and you're studying for exams, or feeling like you need to reconnect in a relationship, whatever that may be, to take the first step in asking for help, to actually put out there, hey, this is a hurdle that I need to get over, that I need to confront, that's like the first step. Once you do that, you're automatically going to grow. You're automatically going to evolve. And it's kind of funny because when we look back, so stressed, we were so confused, we were making mistakes. Those are the times when the survival skills get developed, the personality traits get harnessed. And believe it or not, if you're in that stressful time right now, you will get past it. You will be evolving, growing, and that vision that you have for your life, like our last caller who's going to be an attorney, that vision will come true. You just have to keep it vibrant at the heart and core of your being all the time. And if you don't know what that vision is for your life, if you're trying to find your purpose, well, tune in here each week or give me a call personally at Living Full Out. That number is 310-909-7800, extension 101. Or you can go to livingfullout.com. We have a lot of information on there for you, and you can listen to the show each week live. Or follow us on Spreaker so that you're reminded of future shows. I want to also thank our production team, Ashana, Mindy, Diane, Rich, everybody who goes into putting this inspirational show together for you. We do this because we care. We do this because we want you to advance in life. We want you to thrive. So from us to you, really take what you've learned today and put something into action. I don't care if you go out there and you do the laundry today, mow the lawn, connect with an old friend, do something. Living Full Out is about doing. Now, if you're in a stressful place, I want you to also be aware and have the ability to stand still when you need to. Sometimes we have to harness our patience. We have to stand still and let life wash over us. If we're in aggressive mode, action mode all the time, we don't have that creative time to look back at our life and really assess what we've learned. So I wish everybody an amazing day. Here's to you living your life full out.